Hi, I'm Nicole Papworth. I'm the career coach here for undergraduate business students at UTS. This is the required video for the internship subject around LinkedIn. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is an online social media platform that is for making and retaining your professional network.
If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives. It's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.
So a lot of students ask, why should they have LinkedIn? And it's a big reason why you should have LinkedIn is because it's used so much within Australia. Australia is actually the country with the second largest amount of LinkedIn users globally. So essentially after the US, Australia has the most LinkedIn users. And when you think about the size of our country, that really is quite astonishing how much it is used. So LinkedIn, it's not just about connecting with people, there's so much more that you can do with it. So I'm going to go into a few different areas in LinkedIn that you can use to help move your professional career forward. When you're applying for jobs, it's quite likely that a recruiter or an employer or even your future manager is going to Google you. And this essentially is your digital footprint. What comes up when we Google your name? So when you have a LinkedIn account, it means that this is something that will come up when we Google your name. What I'd really recommend you do is open a Google Incognito tab. So not just a regular Google tab, Google Incognito. What this does is it signs you out of all your social media platforms. I would then Google your own name and see what comes up. What can you see about yourself? What photos? What videos? It's a really great way to see how your privacy settings are set. Or even better, talk to someone in one of your classes who you're not friends with on social media and get them to Google your name and see what comes up. It is really important because this does happen in the employment world. So using LinkedIn to ensure that you have a great digital footprint and that you've got professional things out there is one really interesting way to use it. Another way to use LinkedIn is to build a professional brand.
Here's how to make your profile great. Number 1, pick a professional picture. Not just any picture. No, not that one. More like these. Yes, that's the one. Number 2, write a good headline. Just tell us who you are and what you want to do in 120 characters or less. Yeah, like that. Remember, nothing too personal, nothing too clever. Number 3, tell us about your education. What's your major? What classes did you take? What skills did you develop? C++? Art history? Portuguese history? Quantum thermodynamics? Yes, put those. Number 4, list your experience. Give us your organizations, your achievements, your honors. President of the International Club? Yes. Volunteered building houses? Yes. Invented a cat toy? Yeah, sure, that counts. Number 5, get recommendations. Prove you've got what it takes. Get managers, mentors, and professors to post something that says, this person is smart, hardworking, good-natured, and well-rounded. Or something like that. And then you're done. You shout, this is me! You do a celebration dance. You feel good. You stand out. You know you're on your way because there are jobs to be found and recruiters looking to find you as you watch this. That's right, right now, this very second. What are you waiting for? Go, find, be found.
So one of the things they mentioned there being really important is having a professional photo. People aren't going to respond to your messages or write out to you and approach you if you don't have a professional photo. So having a look at these, I'm sure you're starting to realize these are unprofessional photos, and I'm sure you can figure out why. For one, just have yourself in the photo. No animals, no other people. Make sure you're wearing something that you would consider professional, and make sure you're recognizable in the photo as well. Here's a few examples of what we would consider a professional LinkedIn profile picture. So as you can see, they are all a bit different. It really depends on what type of industry you're going into as to how professional you want to be. You'd assume someone like Ben is probably going into more of a corporate role than maybe someone like Rand. So keep in mind what you consider professional in your industry, but also what the requirements are. It's generally a profile shot, so no more than kind of your head and shoulders, and making sure that you look neat and tidy as a minimum. And recognizable is really the important thing on LinkedIn. The next thing they mentioned was your headline. So your headline comes just next to your photo, and essentially it's 120 characters where you get to describe who you are, who you help, and how. That's generally what you want to be putting in your headline. Here are a few examples of what students have used in the past. So there's loads of different ways that you can write your headline. You can also think about you are a slash generation, in that at the moment you're probably doing more than one career path. So you could also consider something like aspiring economist slash DJ slash entrepreneur slash gluten-free baker that incorporates everything that you do. Think about the industry you're going into and what it is that you would want someone to remember about you in 120 characters or less. There's some really great words that I'd recommend using: specialist, professional, and aspiring. These are better than current student or recent graduate, which are really overused terms in a headline. What you want for your headline, you want it to summarize who you are, and you want it to be really clear what type of industry and what type of job you're aspiring to. So for this assignment, there really are 7 things you need to do to get a really strong mark. 1 is have a professional photo. The second is to have a headline, so actually edit the headline. Don't let it autofill. Put something in there that you've written. Next is to add a summary, some information in there. I'll take you through in a moment of an example of what is quite a good summary. Then in your experience section, it's about putting the basics, and then you get a second point if you add in some extra detail. With education, put in the basics again, and again you get a second point for extra detail. I'll go through with an example soon of what this actually looks like. Then you get 2 points for additional sections. Additional sections can be a few different things. It could be your skills, it could be awards, languages. You can just change the background image. If you've got volunteering, you can add that in. So lots of different things you can take there. And to get the 2 points, you need to do 2 additional sections. Then make at least 10 connections. This gets you your next point. And then have at least 3 interests. So there's a lot of different interests you can have: influencers, companies, schools, groups, and news. So here's an example of a great LinkedIn profile that will be getting 10 out of 10. As you can see, Aaron has a great profile picture. He has also changed his headline. And you can see here he's got a summary. If you're not sure what to write in your summary, think about your career objective, your personal brand statement, some of the things that we'll work with in the lecture. He then has his experience section. So he's put the basics, the role he did, the company he did it at, and the dates. And then he's put a bit extra. He's put a bit of detail about the role. What Aaron's also done in some of these is add media as well. So these are all considered extra things. Then under education, Aaron has the basics. He's got his degree, he's got the university, and he's got the dates. And then he's got additional stuff. He's got a bit about his activities, his societies. You could consider putting in here a summary of what your degree is about. You could also put in some of your grades or some of your subjects, or maybe something about an assignment. Up to you what you'd like to put for additional detail. And then the extra sections. So Aaron has put some volunteering in there. He's also put the skills section. So anybody can do a skills section. All you have to do is list your top skills. He's also went and gotten recommendations, which is a great thing to do. And if you remember at the top, Aaron also changed his background image, which we consider an additional section too. And then he's also got his accomplishments, which is courses, awards, languages, other organizations he's been part of. He's got loads of additional sections. As we said, for this assignment, you need at least 2. And then the final thing is his interests. As you can see, he follows a lot of different interests. So he's following quite a few different companies and influencers and groups to really stay connected on LinkedIn. So the next thing to think about on LinkedIn is connecting and networking. A friend of mine about 8 or 9 years ago was headhunted by Google. She went through the entire recruitment process, so months and months of interviewing. And then she got to the final interview and got flown to San Francisco to their head office to interview with the team. It went really well. She thought she had the role. And then at the end, the recruiter said to her, "Okay, so who is your referral?" She was like, "Oh, what do you mean? You headhunted me. You approached me about the role." And at this time, Google only hired someone if there was someone internal who worked at Google who would refer you. So she went back home after this interview and she was devastated. She didn't know anyone who worked at Google. But she thought about it and she jumped on LinkedIn. And she found that actually someone who she'd been at university with in her very first year of uni was now working in the Texas office at Google. So she wrote him a message and asked him to refer her. And now she works at Google. She's been there for over 8 years. It's actually a story about my sister. So if she hadn't had LinkedIn and hadn't connected with someone that she went to university with, she wouldn't have the great role that she has now. So it's a great reason to connect with current students and people that you're meeting now and thinking about they could be helping you in your career 3-5 years from now, or you could be helping them as well. Another way to use LinkedIn is for career planning. You can look people up and look at their career path they've had to date. You can find someone who's doing your dream job. For example, you might want to be a marketing campaigner at L'Oreal. Then look up a few people that do that job and see how did they get there. What previous roles did they do? What internships did they do? What other companies have they worked for? And it can give you a great way to start planning out how you can get to your dream job. Another thing you can do is look at the UTS alumni. So first jump onto the UTS page on LinkedIn and click on See Alumni. It'll take you to this page where you can then either type in some keywords or you can use the different searches to find lots of different people who are alumni from UTS and are on LinkedIn. You can then connect to them, you can write them messages. It's a really great tool to start building your professional network. And then the next thing you can use LinkedIn is the job boards. They have regular job boards and also student job boards for searching. So in a nutshell, that's LinkedIn. It's really a great tool for ensuring you have a great digital footprint, you've got a really professional brand, connecting with people that you meet on a professional level, helping you plan your career, and searching for jobs. So if you've got any questions about LinkedIn or anything else careers related, please come and visit us in Building One.